Hello and welcome to another video. Saving for retirement can be incredibly daunting, and for many it's a whole lifetime away. This means that it's a low priority right now, as many people just don't know where to start and how much they need when they come to retire. In my last video I mentioned a simple rule called the 4% rule, which gives you a guide for how much you need when you come to retire. As a result, I got a lot of questions from people trying to understand the 4% rule better, so I created this video to let you know about the history of the 4% rule and whether it's useful for you to use as a guide for saving for retirement. So let's get going with the video. As always, before we get going with the video, please make sure you hit that like button and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any further videos. Hi guys, Anthony here to help educate you about everything finance. As a finance professional, I've worked for some of the largest private equity funds and hedge funds in the world, working on deals worth hundreds of millions of dollars, buying financial assets ranging from real estate to planes. And personally, I've invested hundreds of thousands of pounds of my money and friends and family's money into financial assets. As a result, I understand the differences between professional finance and personal finance and understand the disconnects between the two. So my job here is to really help you understand the financial world better, as I truly see this as a long-term way to wealth. In this video, I'm going to talk about the 4% rule and how this works so that you can have a goal to work towards when you come to retire. The 4% rule is a widely used tool for financial planning. It's seen as a guide so you can draw down a certain amount of money each and every year and not run out of money before you die. I mentioned it in my last video, and a lot of people asked me a number of questions on how such a simple rule can be so effective. Many people want to know if the 4% rule was legitimate or something like BMI, which was just cooked up by the financial industry so that you pay them more fees. So I'm going to show you the history of the 4% rule and understand whether it is relevant for your circumstances, because for most people it actually is. So first and foremost, we're going to understand what the 4% rule is. The 4% rule is used as a guide so you can draw down 4% of your retirement pot when you come to retire. The 4% has been calculated as a safe amount so that you can retire and draw down 4%, adjusting each year for inflation, and then not run out of money before you die. If you follow the 4% rule, you'll have a high probability of not outliving your retirement funds, as most people's retirement funds will need to last around about 25 to 30 years. This means that when you come to retire, you'll want around about 25 times the amount of money you'll want to spend annually, which is a very sensible guide. So when we hear any type of rule, we really want to understand where this rule has come from. Sometimes a rule can be so old that no one's ever questioned whether it's relevant nowadays. And other times you might have a rule which is cooked up by an industry so that the industry can gain more and more money off people who just don't know. The 4% rule was created by a financial planner called William Bengen in 1994. Bengen wanted to establish a safe withdrawal rate so retirees could safely retire and not worry about running out of money before they died. Bengen ran the analysis to understand the safe rate of withdrawal depending on when you withdrew your retirement. He analysed the results between 1926 and 1976. He checked his analysis and looked for a safe withdrawal rate, withdrawing a certain percentage each year and adjusting that for inflation. He then checked to see how long his portfolio would last depending on the rate of withdrawal, as no one wants to run out of money when they come to retirement. He wanted to find a safe percentage so that your retirement portfolio could last you a minimum of 30 years. He tried different rates of withdrawal from between 1% to 8%. He also did different portfolio allocations from 0% stocks to 100% bonds, to 100% stocks and 0% bonds to see which portfolio performed the best. His thinking here was if you retire between the age of 60 and 65, then average life expectancy means that you'll probably live for another 25 to 30 years. From his analysis, Bengen found out that if you wanted your retirement funds to last for 30 years, the very worst time in which you could have retired was 1966. And this is assuming a retirement portfolio that is between 50% and 75% stocks. This just means that Bengen has found that the initial 4% rate is a safe withdrawal rate so that even if you retired at the very worst time to retire, which in his analysis was 1966, you would still have enough money to last you through 30 years of retirement. So this is such an important rule because someone's already ran the analysis over a long period of time to understand how much you can safely withdraw when you come to retire. When you come to retire, you want to be safe and you want to be confident that the money that you have is going to outlive you. No one wants to run out of money as you've been working so hard to build up this pot and you've worked for maybe 40, 50 years at this point, and you just want to enjoy retirement as you've always dreamed of. So how do you use the 4% rule? The beauty of the 4% rule and the reason why it's so famous from YouTube all the way up to financial planners is it's so simple. It gives a simple definition for something which is incredibly difficult to predict, as you don't know how much you're going to spend in 20 or 30 years. So let's just do a worked example. Trying to work out the amount of money which we'll need to live off can be incredibly difficult. We don't know what our life's going to look like in that future time. So as a rule of thumb, it's really simple to just use your current wage. Hopefully you're able to live off that, but just use that as an indicator for how much money you would realistically need to save to live the lifestyle and all the expenses that you currently have. Let's say you earn £30,000 per year, and that £30,000 represents your 4% withdrawal rate. This means that if you times 30,000 by 25, you'll get the value of your portfolio, which is £750,000. Now, obviously this is just a target and can seem rather daunting right now if you've never invested. If you've got 20 or 30 years left to retire, then you can use this as an opportunity to build up this nest egg for retirement. So actually you will have plenty of time to get to this number, and it will often take a lot less money than you think. So whilst the 4% rule is really simple to follow, it has a number of drawbacks. And one of the big drawbacks is it is so simple. It assumes a one-size-fits-all for everyone. It doesn't adjust for an individual's specific needs or how they need to change their spending over time. It may greatly overestimate how much you'll need for retirement, as 4% was the withdrawal rate at the very worst time between 1926 and 1976. However, when you retire, 4% withdrawal rate could be just too low, and you could have safely withdrawn 5 or 6%. And this is where the controversy kind of comes in, is many people question whether 4% is actually required in retirement. Many people believe that a lower withdrawal rate is preferred, and some people believe that you can withdraw greater amounts than the 4%. However, let's just remember that hindsight is always 20/20. This analysis was conducted in 1994 for a period of retirement between 1926 and 1976. Who knows, at the point of 1994, it could have been the best year to retire or could have been the worst year to retire. We just don't know. Another issue with the 4% rule is the asset allocation. The author recommends a portfolio between 50% and 75% of stocks, with the other 50 or 25% in bonds. This is a super conservative investment strategy, and personally one which I don't agree with. Historically, the performance of the stock market has vastly outperformed that of the bond market over the long term, and often the rate of returns of bonds is reduced by the rate of inflation. One big drawback of bonds is that you're only getting paid the interest and the principal in what you've put in. The benefit of stocks, however, is that you benefit from the profits in which companies make. And if you invest regularly and for the long term, then in general the stock market goes up and provides higher returns than any other financial asset. I think anyone, no matter what age, should hold the vast majority of their investments in the stock market, just because it performs so well. And if you invest in majority stocks, two things will happen. Your retirement pot will grow quicker because the rates of returns in stocks are higher. And hopefully when you come to retirement, because your investment pot will be so much larger, you will have the ability to withdraw a greater rate than the 4%. Which means that if you just stick to the 4% rule, you will have a significant amount of buffer so that you won't have to worry about running out of money. Personally, I think the 4% rule is a really great rule to follow. I don't know how much I'm going to need for retirement, as for me, it's over 30 years away. If you ask a toddler how much they're going to need in 30 years, they're going to have absolutely no idea. And I'm exactly the same. I don't know what my life's going to look like, and I'm sure you don't know what your life's going to look like in 20, 30 years. So it's super hard to predict how much money you're going to need and how much money you're going to want to spend. But the 4% rule gives you a good goal to work towards. You might think it's way too high, or you might think it's way too low. However, using that rule, that's 25 times your current wage, will give you a decent target to aim for. And if you miss the goal of 25 times your current wage, then you'll still have a significant retirement pot to retire safely. I hope you found today's video useful and it's helped you understand a little bit better about the 4% rule and how you can use it for your circumstances. Obviously the rule isn't perfect, however it gives you a good indication of how much you need to save in 30 or 40 years time so that you can retire safely and not run out of money. As always, before you go, please make sure that you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And if you don't follow me on Instagram, make sure you follow me at Anthony Cotter Finance. And I'll see you next time.